In these dreams my artful hands induced wild passions in the village girls, turning them into wanton Ludmillas who chased me through flowery glades, lying with me on beds of wild thyme among fields of goldenrod. I clung to Uka in my dreams, seizing her like a spider, entwining as many legs around her as a centipede has. I grew into her body like a small twig, grafted on a broad-limbed apple tree by a skillful gardener. There was another reoccurring dream, bringing a different kind of vision. Uka's attempt to make a grown man of me succeeded instantly. One part of my body grew rapidly into a monstrous shaft of incredible size, while the rest remained unchanged. I became a hideous freak. I was locked in a cage, and people watched me through bars, laughing excitingly. Then Uka came naked through the crowd and joined me in a grotesque embrace. I became a horrible growth on her smooth body. The witch, Anulka, lurked nearby with a big knife, ready to cut me away forever from this girl, to mutilate me foully and throw me to the ants. The sound of dawn ended my nightmares. The hen squawked, the rooster crowed, the rabbits stamped their feet in hunger, while Ditko, annoyed by it all, started growling and barking. Uka furtively hurried home, and I surrendered to the rabbits, the grass our bodies had warmed. Merker inspected the hutches several times daily. He knew all the rabbits by name, and nothing escaped him or his attention. He had some favorite females whose grazing he watched over himself. He would not leave their cages when they had their litters. One of the females was particularly loved by Maker. She was a white giant with pink eyes and had not had any young. Maker used to take her to the house and keep her there for several days, after which she seemed quite ill. After some of these visits, the big white rabbit bled under her tail, refused to eat, and appeared sick. One day, Maker called me over, pointed to her, and ordered me to kill her. I could not believe he meant it. The white female was very valuable, for pure white skins were rare. Besides, she was very large and would no doubt prove a fertile breeder. Maker repeated his order without looking at me or the rabbit. I hardly knew what to do. Maker always killed the rabbits himself, afraid that I was not strong enough to execute them quickly and painlessly. Skinning and dressing them was my job. Later, Uka made tasty dishes of them. Noticing my hesitation, Maker slapped my face and once again ordered me to kill the rabbit. She was heavy, and I had difficulty dragging her to the yard. She struggled and squealed, so I could not lift her high enough by the hind legs to deal her a lethal blow behind the ears. I had no choice but to kill her without lifting her up. I waited for the right moment and then hit the animal with all my strength. She fell down. To make doubly sure, I hit her again. When I thought she was dead, I hung her on a special post. I sharpened my knife on a stone and started the skinning. First, I cut the skin on the legs, carefully separating the tissue from the muscle, anxiously avoiding any damage to the hide. After each cut, I pulled the skin down until I got to the neck. That was a difficult spot, for the blow behind the ears had caused so much bleeding that it made it hard to distinguish between the skin and the muscle. Since any damage to a valuable rabbit skin enraged Maker, I did not dare to think what would happen if I nicked this one. I started detaching the skin with added care, pulling it slowly towards the head, when suddenly a tremor ran through the hanging body. Cold sweat covered me. I waited a moment, but the body remained still. I was reassured, and then, thinking it an illusion, resumed my task. Then the body twitched again. The rabbit must have only been stunned. I ran for the club to kill her, but the horrible shriek stopped me. The partially skinned carcass started to jump and squirm on the post where it was suspended. Bewildered and not knowing what I was doing, I released the struggling rabbit. She fell down and started running immediately, now forward, now backward, with her skin hanging down behind her. She rolled to the ground, uttering an unending squeal. Sawdust, leaves, dirt, dung clung to the bare, bloody flesh. She twisted more and more violently. She lost all sense of direction, blinded by flaps of skin falling over her eyes. Catching twigs and weeds with a half-pulled-off stocking. Her pierced shrieks caused pandemonium in the yard. Terrified rabbits went mad in their hutches. The excited females trampled their young. The males fought one another, squealing, hitting their rumps on the walls. Ditko was jumping up and straining at his chain. The hens flapped their wings in desperate attempt to fly away from all, and then collapsed, resigned and humiliated on the tomatoes and onions. The rabbit, now completely red, was still running. She dashed through the grass, then returned to the hutches. She tried to struggle through the bean patch. Each time her loose hanging skin caught on some obstacle, she halted with horrid scream and spurted blood. Maker rushed out of the house finally with an axe in his hand. He ran over to the bloody creature and split it in two with one blow. Then he hit the heap of gore again and again. His face was pale yellow, and he bellowed horrible curses. When only a bloody pulp remained of the rabbit, Maker noticed me and came towards me, trembling with rage. I didn't have time to dodge, and a powerful kick in the stomach sent me breathless over the fence. The world seemed to swirl. I was blinded, as if my own skin were falling over my head in a black hood. The kick immobilized me for several weeks. I lay in an old rabbit hutch. Once a day, Quail or Uka brought me some food. Sometimes Uka came alone, but left without a word when she saw my condition. One day, Anulka, who had heard about my injuries, brought me a live mole. She tore it apart before my eyes and applied it to my abdomen until the animal's body turned quite cold. When she finished, she was confident that her treatment would make me well again soon. I missed Uka's presence, her warmth, her touch, her smile. I tried to get better rapidly, but willpower alone was not sufficient. Whenever I tried to stand, a spasm of pain in my belly paralyzed me for minutes. Crawling out of the hutch to urinate was sheer agony, and I often gave up and did it where I slept.